A tapestry of cultures is Canada's strength in diversity. Canada prides itself on being a multicultural mosaic. From coast to coast, diverse communities enrich the nation's fabric. Indigenous peoples, immigrants, and descendants of early settlers contribute to Canada's vibrant identity. This diversity is not just a point of pride, it is the very essence of what makes Canada strong. Respect for diverse cultures is paramount. It fosters understanding. It encourages inclusivity. This inclusivity should be reflected in all aspects of Canadian society. This includes media representation. However, a closer look East Coast Bell Media-owned CTV Atlantic.ca reveals a different story for some communities. The French Acadians of Nova Scotia, despite their rich founding member history and vibrant culture, face systemic exclusion that is resulting in assimilation. This exclusion is particularly evident in their constant lack of representation in Atlantic Canada media like CTV Atlantic, as well as equally insular Saltwire. This is particularly troubling in the digital age of ghosting. Online platforms have become critical for information and representation. Have you ever noticed there is never any mention of Acadians on Bell-owned CTV Atlantic.ca evening news or even their website? The story of the Acadians is one of resilience and perseverance in the face of historical adversity. Forcibly expelled from their lands in the 18th century during the Great Upheaval, the Acadians endured unimaginable hardship. They were scattered across the globe, separated from their families and stripped of their heritage identity. Despite these hardships, the Acadians held onto their language and culture. Many eventually returned to their homeland. They rebuilt their lives in the Maritimes. Yet, the patterns of Edward Cornwallis and La Bastille de Halifax's media power of the past and present run deep. The struggle for recognition and equality continues to this day. The marginalization of Acadian culture is not a relic of the past. It persists in subtle yet insidious ways, while the useless there for the paycheck CRTC licensing department turns a blind eye. One of the most blatant examples of this is the lack of representation in local jive at 5 News Media, particularly by Bell Media-owned CTV Atlantic.ca. This digital platform, with its wide reach, has a mission statement listed, responsibility to reflect the diversity of all the Atlantic Canadian communities it serves. Digital exclusion in the 21st century. CTV Atlantic.ca's ghosting blind spot. In the digital age, online platforms have become the new public square. They are where information is shared and narratives are shaped. Government-subsidized CTV Atlantic.ca, a leading news and information source in the region, significantly influences public perception. However, a closer look at CTV Atlantic.ca's content reveals a glaring omission. Acadian voices, perspectives, and stories are conspicuously absent. This lack of representation is not merely an oversight. It is a premeditated form of digital exclusion that perpetuates the marginalization of the Acadian community and keeps them in a gulag ghetto feedback loop of exclusion. This exclusion is particularly troubling given CTV Atlantic.ca's self-proclaimed phony commitment to diversity and inclusion. The platform frequently features stories about other minority groups, highlighting their achievements and challenges. Yet the Acadians, a founding people of the region, are relegated to the sidelines. Section 6. The high cost of exclusion, political, social, and economic repercussions. The exclusion of Acadians from platforms like CTV Atlantic.ca is not just a matter of hurt feelings. It has tangible political, social, and economic repercussions. Politically, it limits the Acadian community's ability to advocate for their interests and have their voices heard in the public sphere. Socially, it reinforces stereotypes and prejudices, preventing the wider community from developing a deeper understanding of Acadian culture and history. Economically, it restricts the opportunities for Acadian businesses and entrepreneurs to reach a wider audience and thrive. Their lack of representation also perpetuates a cycle of cultural invisibility. When young Acadians don't see themselves reflected in the media they consume, it sends a message that their stories are not important and their voices don't matter. This can lead to a sense of alienation and disengagement.